What up, though? I go by a plethora of names, go by a few monikers, and one appellation. Today we're gonna go by Momor, right? And welcome to AM Opinionated. It's your man. Hope your AM is going A-okay. You did. If you have seen this podcast before, man, welcome. You know, if you have not seen this podcast before, welcome. I welcome everybody to this podcast because this podcast is really for everyone. Yeah, but I touch on things. I touch on things that touch everybody. This morning's episode will be no different, right? So, if you like what you have seen, what you have heard on my podcast, hit the like button, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Notoriously Opinionated. Leave me comments. I read them. I'll respond, all that, right? But before I get into this morning's show, shout out to my guest from last night, man. That was an incredible show. I appreciate my guy Solo, my guy School for coming through and blessing me for being on the show, man. Shout out to my co-host Hero, always tracking with me, I appreciate all y'all, and to all my future guests, man, get ready. We going in. We going all the way in. So also listen to my Spotify podcast. Got a podcast on Spotify. That's where you're gonna find Areas of Human Activity. So hit that like button, subscribe to Areas of Human Activity, go to YouTube, subscribe to Notoriously Opinionated. This is AM Opinionated, and it's being live streamed through Facebook and YouTube, right? So, and leave them comments too. But in this AM edition, my main topic, I'm gonna be talking about the widespread effects of COVID-19. So that's that's going to be what today's main topic is going to be, the widespread effects of COVID-19. But my first opinion touches actually, in one way, shape, form, or fashion, my first opinion touches every area of human activity. Every single one, right? It touches every area of human activity. Now, I know I talk a lot about Trump. I talk a lot about how he has been an inept president and has luckily stumbled upon some things that was beneficial to the nation. But a lot of it was posing, right? Most of it was posing, in my opinion, in my notorious opinion, right? So I'm gonna keep it one, right? Keep it all the way 100. I've said before, I'll continue to say it, that there are some ways in which I am conservative and some ways which I am liberal, which makes me a true independent. I believe in Kujichagulia, which means self-determination. And so I determine for myself, so I'm not determined by others. But Trump is, and it's not, my first opinion is not necessarily about Trump. It just so happens that he fits into this particular topic, that he is embarking upon and follow me now. He is embarking upon a lost cause. My man has lost by over 5 million votes and counting. You dig? 5 million votes. My dude, it's over, man. Let it go. It's a lost cause. You starting to make me think. No. You're starting. No. I am continuing to think that you are a white supremacist for the simple fact that you are following the same blueprint of the lost cause of the Confederacy of the South during the Civil War. That's what it's touching. So the lost cause goes into the original lost cause, goes into how, all right, so it really goes into why I call it human past and why I don't call it history, right? Because everyone who is depicting history, especially so-called American history or even world history, is not always going to depict it accurately, you know? So human American history from the African proverbs explanation from the version of the bird, you dig, does not always accurately depict human past. You know, human past a lot of times is a lot different than American or world history, you know. And what do I mean by that? Here's an example of what I mean, and this is my first opinion. So the lost cause was the pseudo historical version of Confederate Southerners saying that the Civil War, from their opinion, was not being fought to defend slaves or slavery, right? But was actually being fought to defend and uphold the rights of the states. Bullshit. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Hold on. I think I learned this from I learned this on Creed. That's the sign for bullshit. That's what I call on that. You know, there is no way that you can, I mean it's false history, but they put these things in Southern school textbooks, you know, education, you know, they're defending their way of life led to the Civil War, you know, they had their own president, they seceded from the Union politics, you know. The whole thing behind slavery was the fact that they had free slave labor, and from their ideology, it was the slavery from their point of view was justified. Actually, they said it was just and moral because it helped the economic good of the South. So from that perspective, it made enslaving Africans against their will just and moral because it added economic prosperity to the South. Ain't that a butt? You know, so enslaving the whole people so that your people can be economically benefited makes it just. That justifies it in your eyes, which is why you see so many Confederate memorials around the nation. Why do we have Confederate memorials around the nation memorializing the losers of the war? I ain't never heard of that. Memorializing the losers of the war, right? And those who seceded from the Union. So from the North side, they were fighting to protect the Union. And you want to memorialize those who seceded from the Union, fought against the Union, tried to overthrow the Union, and so you put up statues in their honor. Where they do that at? You know, Any other time in human history, the conquerors were the ones that took over and named everything after themselves. You know, that's what colonizers normally do. I don't know why this was any different, you know. But the president is on his own lost cause mission, being down 5 million votes and counting, like I said. And still, you got his Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, that's steadily lying to the Trumpers, saying that they are going to, how do you say it? They're going to transition. How do you say it? He promised a smooth. He publicly promised and I quote, a smooth transition to a second Trump administration. End quote. Are you freaking serious? Like, where is the teacup? Like, who got the teacup? Is it a podcast that the Trump supporters are listening to? What is it? Where is the teacup? Who got it? I don't even know what they're saying, because I seen Get Out. Damn that, I don't even want to hear the teacup. People come around me with teacups from now. You can tell I just seen Get Out a couple weeks ago. So but yeah, that's my first opinion, man. And it's crazy how the past can still intermingle with what's going on today, right? Because I believe Trump is a white supremacist. The Confederate Southerners promoted white supremacy, you know. And again, it's like the ancestor said, if you do not understand racism and white supremacy, what it is and how it functions, everything you think you understand will only confuse you. So this teacup that Trump keeps hitting is confusing everybody that's following him. Matter of fact, I don't even think it's confusing him. He's trying to confuse everybody else. He's not confusing his supporters because they rocking with him on the racist agenda. So it's not even confusing them, right? So anyway, moving on to today in human past, right? So today in human past, on December 3rd, 1865, was the day that the first interracial jury was selected. Why is that important? Why is interracial juries important? How can we actually have equality in our judicial system if the jury that's deciding the fate of defendants is consistently wholly the opposite complexion, that does not even the opposite complexion, does not accurately represent the defendant? How many times have there been juries that did not represent the defendant in the past, right? Which led to not only a guilty verdict, that was a given, but a guilty verdict and a longer sentence than it should have been. That's my thing, you know. So if the juries looked more like or represented more of what the defendants look like, there would be a trend towards equality. and not marginalism, right? Also, today in human past, on December 3rd, 1864, the 10th and the 18th corps of the Union Army sent its white soldiers to one corps and all of the black soldiers into what would be deemed the 25th, right? 25th Corps. The 25th Corps of the Union Army was the largest African American army ever put together. So, while I do not necessarily agree with or believe that that black people should fight in wars, should be a part of the armed services, I do salute those brothers, because I do understand the struggle. I do understand the fight. And I even understand that they give away free college education. So it's not that I don't get it. It's not that I don't understand it. I'm just saying it wasn't for me. I took the ASVAB, aced it. Aced the ASVAB. Was on my way to the hotel to stay that night in order to go to wherever it is that you go after you get sworn in. But I knew after I was sworn in that was it, that I was locked in. I was like, nah, I'm cool with not, Now the decision wasn't completely mine, I was just cool with it after the fact. The story is a wild one. Anyway, so that was today in human past. So here's where I am, right? COVID-19. Okay, so there have been globally 65 million confirmed cases of COVID-19 globally, right? There have been like 1.4 or 1.5 million deaths globally. There have been, 300,000 deaths in the United States. 2,800 people died yesterday. 2,800 people died yesterday of COVID. I know people personally. I know them. Like, these are people that I knew who died of COVID, and it's not even being heated to the level that it should be, and again, and this goes, because this is some top down stuff, so since they want to implement trickle down economics, here's some trickle down political facts for you. So President Trump is intending on having what they have deemed a super spreader event at the White House during the holiday season, which means that he plans to party it up. He plans to party like it's 1999 because he's out of there. Whether he wants to admit it or not, Trump knows that his days are numbered and it ends on January 20th. He knows this. Whether him, Mike Pompeo, and the rest of his cabinet want to admit it, y'all need to find new jobs. Get the hell out of there. It's a wrap, right? One term. That's all you're gonna get. But he plans on holding this super spreader event at the White House and yet pump to everybody else how they should not be holding events of more than X amount of people, you know, while the death toll rises for coronavirus, for COVID-19 rather, you still want to gather in massive groups and party, you know, you still trying to kick it. I don't understand that, you know. Now, of those 64.5 million people who have contracted COVID-19, like 41 million recovered, you know, so that is a good thing, you know. 49 million recovered, but there's still 1.5 million people that died. It's still, I don't think it's 300,000. I think it's more like 275,000. Still, you know, 275,000 people have died in the United States of COVID-19, and they're expecting the I don't know what his role is in the CDC, but a guy that's a part of the CDC, or rather the CDC in itself, projects that by December 25th, the day after Christmas, right? By the day after Christmas, they're projecting it's going to be 60,000 more deaths. 60,000 more deaths, not contracted cases, 60,000 more deaths, right? I hate to sound like Will Smith on that one. Sound like Will Smith and I Am Legend. Everybody that you knew is dead. I hate to go all, you know, Will Smith, I Am Legend on you, but that's kind of where we are headed, you know, and we are not getting the type of leadership that we should be getting from what is supposed to be the top. And it's all kind of like the Southern Confederates said, to defend their way of life. That's why he says he's not enforcing a whole lot of things, because he wants to give the people in the states the right to choose. Okay, so we have to realize that in our society, we don't have a lot of rationally minded people. We have people that just want to do what they want to do because what they want to do makes them feel good at the moment. They don't have a real firm grasp of their emotional intelligence. We're irrational, you know? And so just like a child who does not necessarily understand that they want structure, that they need structure, right? While I don't agree with parents trying to dictate what their child does and what their child grows into, you know, I do agree with giving a child structure, a structure that they don't really even know that they want and need. That is, in my opinion, one of the duties of government. It's like, okay, I know we live in a party culture, and I know that everybody want to go to 18th and Vine. Everybody want to go to the clubs. Everybody want to go kick it. You want to be around, but for the greater good, we need y'all to chill, you know, because you're spreading a virus that we don't have a good handle of yet. So here's what's gonna happen. You know, this is happening, period, because you need structure and you don't know or don't care about that structure. But this is happening, right? That's why they better be glad I can't be president. Tell you, shit would change. I tell you, it would be. I'll be signing EOs all day. I would be the president that signed the most executive orders in one day than any other president in American history. I would be signing, like, Yep. 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 Speak. But it would all be beneficial. You know, I'm not gonna be making up and signing no bullshit. I bet you the EOs that I come up with and sign is gonna change some things for the good. It's gonna change some things for the good. Now, like everybody ain't gonna like it. Matter of fact, I would venture to say that it's about 73 million people that's not gonna like it. But of these 73 million people that's not gonna like it, it's gonna be about 80-something million people that do. So, oh my God. Okay. Anyway, whew. Emotional intelligence. Gotta love it. So, COVID-19 has widespread effects, right? And these effects go into education. And that's my primary thing, that it goes into education. Oh my God. Hello, you're live with me on the show, since you just keep calling. What's happening? How you doing?
Well, you told me you'd be done by 9:30.
I know I did, but I'm not. And so the fact that I kept not answering the phone should have told you that.
It was not answering, hanging up. So
I know. I kept hanging up. And that was the reason.
Well, send a message. All right, goodbye.
All right. And that was live. So live TV. Anyway, so COVID-19 has widespread effects on education, which is what I am pretty much the most focused on at the moment, because it deals with everything from preschool learners to tertiary learners, you know. So, and what I mean by that, it goes all the way from preschool to post grad, you know. So you got, I think they said globally 900 million learners who have been affected by COVID-19, right? Germany and Italy shut it all down. Germany and Italy said, you know what? Nah, we ain't doing school at all. We shutting the whole program down. Shut it down, you know, because they're super spreaders, you know. Now, in the beginning of COVID-19, they were saying how it seemed as if Black people and young people were unaffected by the virus. Come to find out, that was inaccurate. That was not true, you know. So it's had a social mobility issue dealing with schools, education, and COVID, right? So like in a lot of states, free school meals that would be going to these kids have been negated. I mean, just think of the economics. Think of childcare in regards to COVID-19. Parents who have young children at home. Now, peep this scenario. You have a parent with a young child or young children, right? That is a healthcare worker or an essential worker. They have to go to work. School, sending their child to school where they were going to get 2 meals, you know, and they were going to be able to stay there until the parent got off of work, was a blessing, was a benefit. Now, without school being in session, now these children are they're needed upon having child care. Do you know how many days of work a lot of healthcare workers and essential workers have missed because they had to stay home with their child or children? That affects their economy. That affects the household economy. You know, these are days they can't afford to have off. And so what happens when one of these healthcare workers, essential workers, or even non-essential workers that still are blessed enough to have and be able to go to their job. What happens if they get a sniffle, a cough, or a sore throat, or feel something in their chest? Do you think all of them is telling their employers that they have symptoms? Hell no. Why? Because they can't afford to sit home for 2 weeks without a check. I got 3 kids. That need childcare. Childcare costs $100 and some odd a week for each one. You know, it's not feasible for me to be able to stay home, and I don't have a job to where I can work from home. I've got to go to work. I've got to. I don't have another choice. I've got to go to work, bar none. You know, so I'm about to drink this Theraflu. I'm about to pop these. Halls. You know, I'm about to drink this hot tea. I'm about to self-medicate and take my ass to work tomorrow. Right? Infections be damned, because the clear and present danger to me is the financial aspect of my household. Damn everything else. But that's the mentality. You know, everybody don't have, if you live an affluent life, then you can afford to stay home, pay for child care, all that. Like I was talking to my partner the other day, and we was like, man, I can't wait until we get to a point to where we don't have to worry about money, because it's coming. You know, there's going to be a point to where we don't have to worry about money, and then I can finally try to see what the wealthy talk about in regards to more money, more problems. You know, I've never been wealthy, so I can't speak from that side. I can't speak from that perspective intelligently. You know, however, being poor my whole freaking life, or not wealthy, not financially wealthy my whole life, I could say that I just gotta disagree. You know, like the things that could, the financial things that would cripple someone who doesn't have money are just mere inconveniences to those that do. You know, they run into problems because I think they run into more problems because they have more money, because of them trying to keep that status quo, because they're trying to keep that money. Continuing to live that type of lifestyle, a certain type of lifestyle, is probably, from my notorious opinion, what is stressing the hell out of the wealthy, because they have a lifestyle to maintain. Thus, they have to make a certain amount of money to maintain this lifestyle, and the constant stress of needing to make this amount of money could potentially be stressful. Wouldn't stress me. I know what I would need in life to survive the rest of my life and to pass on wealth to my next generations. You know, I know what I need. That's not, you're not tripping because you're wealthy. You're not going through stress because you're wealthy. You're going through stress because you're greedy. Period. All right. So that's going to do it for me. This has been AM Opinionated with your man, Momo out there in Bonisi. Tune in tomorrow morning for another episode of AM Opinionated. Tune in every Wednesday at 8:30 for Notoriously Opinionated with me and my co-host Hero. We got guests lined up till next year. So it's gonna be lit every week. Every week is gonna be lit. So remember, support and patronize small and Black businesses, man. It's important to keep the Black dollar in the Black community more than 6 hours. Please help us do that. Anytime you feel the need, you can go to buyblackkc.com. Check it out. Support the movement, man. Support the movement that helps your community. You know, and I don't necessarily just mean the Black community. I mean the community at large. Whether you got Black people, white people, Latinos, Asians living in your community, man, support your community. You know, whatever it is, you know, define what community means to you. And once you define what community means to you, you'll have a way better understanding of what you need to do. People come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And once you figure out which one it really is, you know exactly what to do. Seize the day. Take that back. Seize the moment. You might not make it through the day. Peace. I'm out.